I've been a blacksmith armorer for over 30 years. I've created weapons for over 200 feature films. This is Man-at-Arms. I asked you guys what you wanted. You said you wanted the Zenith sword from League of Legends, and I made it happen for you. To extrapolate an unfeasible, oversized design and make it into a real weapon is always difficult. Normally for video game builds, we'll make the blades out of 70-75 aircraft aluminum. In this case, we're using 5160 spring steel. Made a paper pattern and traced it out. I had a 42-inch long blade, about 4 inches wide. That was in turn transferred to a piece of 5160 spring steel that was 1/4 inch thick. We cut that out with the bandsaw to the outside profiles, and then I forged the tang to a longer length and to the thickness that I needed. I've also patterned out the aluminum spikes that come off of the donut at the hilt, and those are cut out of 1 inch thick 70-75 aluminum. We've threaded those with a 1024 threaded insert, and that'll thread into the donut when I spread that open. I've taken a 9-inch length of Delrin plastic, drilled a hole through it, and that'll be the grip for the sword. The difference between blacksmithing and machining is if I try to drill a 1/4 inch hole in 1/4 inch material through the side, it's going to split the material. With blacksmithing, I can punch and drift out the hole, giving enough space, and that's kind of what I did with cutting a slot, opening it up to a round, and then spreading the round out to give it the donut for the hilt. After Bryan had drilled the 3 holes to attach the aluminum donuts, there's one section of the 5160 steel blade that was still too hard, so we had to anneal the hilt. Annealing is a process where we heat it up to the critical temperature, which is about 1500 to 1600 degrees, and then put it into vermiculite, which is like an expanded mica, to allow it to slow cool so that a regular drill bit would be able to drill through the metal. We've hole sawed some pieces of 3/4 inch thick aluminum and cut out the profiles of that. And then Bryan has drilled 4 1/4 inch holes around the perimeter that the 2 aluminum donuts will be riveted on there. I've also taken a big ingot of bronze and forged it to the pommel. I also punched a hole through the middle of the bronze pommel, and then we took a square punch and punched it into like a diamond shape in the middle. I cracked it in a couple places because bronze is not really a material that's conducive to hot forging, so it got a little bit too hot and separated, but it does weld very easily, so I was able to TIG weld it with bronze welding rod and got everything cleaned up. There was an imperfection. The welding made it perfect again. I've done some detail work on the exterior of the bronze pommel. Bryan will be working on the interior kind of file work on that with a die grinder and a carbide bit opening up everything, so that's looking really nice. I took a long length of 1.5-inch diameter Delrin plastic, drilled a hole through the middle on the lathe, and then hand carved a spiral flute into it. I've wrapped the piece with black leather, and I'm going to inlay twisted silver wire up into the grooves. I know the one from the game doesn't actually have that type of handle, but it just kind of lends itself to it. I started grinding the bevels on the blade. We tapered down the tang and threaded that to 3/8 of an inch in diameter with 16 threads per inch. The discs for the donuts have been turned on the lathe. We're going to clean that up. And to insert the side spikes, I had Alicia cut some slots with the separating disc with the abrasive cutoff saw. And we TIG welded a coupling nut in there so we can actually screw the piece in. Just pulled it out of the electric heat treating oven at about 1550 degrees and quenched it in heat treating oil. That gives the full hardness. And then we put it back into the heat treating ovens to about 600 degrees, allowing it to temper so it toughens the metal. The Zenith sword was a lot of work, but it's all done. It's a very technical piece to make, and I put my feel to it, changing the pommel and the grip around. but it was a balanced working piece. I was pretty happy with it. What was particularly cool about this project, the designer of the weapon was Michael from Riot Games, and he was able to come out and see the finished piece realized.
Oh my god, I get to hold it. Oh! This is amazing. This is literally what I imagined, simply because I imagined this way back in the day, and I drew it, and we put it in a video game, but now here it is in my hand, and that is an experience beyond words. We have, teams of dudes, of modelers, concept artists, visual effects artists, splash artists that make these characters themselves. Well, it's not just one guy. So this is an amazing thing for any of them to see. Protect the faith.
You don't need a Century Award to find the subscribe button. It's right here. Check out the rest of Man-at-Arms Armory by clicking here. Special thanks to the team at Riot, and as always, leave a comment with what weapon you'd like to see next.